talk. I'm from Paige. I'm the Director of Building Sciences and Sustainability. We're a large architecture engineering kind of interdisciplinary firm. I'm located, like you said, in Houston. I want to talk to you about a project we just completed in Austin, Texas. And this is a large office building, core and shell we just completed. And the kind of mantra I want to hit home with you all is pursuing rigor is important in order to measure our impact. So like I said, this project is located in Austin, Texas. It is a large core and shell project, 730,000 square feet. The client we had was Trammell Crow Companies. They were the developer, principal became the investor, and Kilroy Properties actually purchased it before it was even fully complete as one of the most sustainable projects they had seen in Austin, Texas. We achieved LEED Platinum core and shell on it, and it's the second largest project in the US to have done so. Some key features for this project are the actually historic reuse of an existing building. You can see the old post office down below that became part of our project. So it wasn't just this new tower, office tower. Even though we were in a downtown, very urban location, the project achieved 46% of its site as open space. 100% of our water outdoors is coming from reused sources, and that's because even on this urban site, we're managing 85% of our rainwater, which is a lot of water. So essentially all that green space you see over there is a large cistern underneath of it and recycling it for both the water feature and all of the irrigation. We were able to cut the EUI pretty significantly for an office building standard in Austin anyway, 14% energy savings off the most recent code. And the other important part, as you know, for grid reliability is shaving off the peak. So we reduced the peak by 22%. And then all of the power was offset 100% through off-site renewables. So back to that idea, intention requires rigor, and rigor is what we use to measure impact. So I want to walk you through a little bit of how we got to the conclusion of using Autocase. From the very beginning of the project, we set out with our team to really quantify what's going to matter. We didn't want to chase points on a LEED scorecard. We really wanted to first define what were our goals. And usually we think about sustainability in these kind of circular buckets I have here, but tried to really give them a name and define what those intentions were. And then we pursued the rigor of certifications. And the reason I firmly believe in certifications is they help us define what good is around those goals and make sure we follow through on our intentions. So this project achieved a lot of certifications, all of the alphabet soup. We achieved LEED Platinum, core and shell, Austin Energy Green Building. For those of you who are familiar, this was actually the predecessor to LEED, and it was started in Austin in the 90s. We achieved 4 out of 5 stars for that. And then we also, kind of a late arrival to our project, but pursued Fitwell and achieved 1 star rating for Fitwell. We then took data from all of those systems and we were able to then measure impact. So because we had set our intentions, because we had measured them in our design strategies, we were able to use those inputs to help define value back to our client, to our owner, and ultimately to the city and future tenants in this facility. I love the waterfall diagram that Autocase develops to really, explain to you where all those benefits come from in a really, as an architect or a recovering architect, as I say, in a graphic way that helps people understand those areas of value proposition. So I wanted to share the results with you slightly differently, and first to tell you what some of our intentions were and then how that translated to value. So one of our big values for the owner was clearly to be located in a really strategic place with a lot of opportunities for multimodal transit. So downtown Austin, a huge growth area for the city. How can this building add to and be a regenerative contributor to the urban space and connect to those systems that are already there? We weren't able to evaluate all of the multimodal transit our project had, but even for bicycles, we couldn't hit the LEED criteria, which in version 4 is pretty stringent. We still provided 235 bicycle spaces. So even though we didn't achieve that credit in LEED, we were still able to input the value into Autocase. And you can see there on the right, the waterfall diagram of the impact and the value proposition to to those triple bottom lines. You know, cycling benefits obviously most important to the occupants who's riding their bike, but reduction of congestion, vehicle operating costs, and the like. Another intention we had was an indoor environmental quality, really thinking through the kinds of spaces we were providing and how could you create a work environment that made people really enjoy where they were living. That historic building I was talking about became an integral part of our lobby. And so we wanted to make this kind of main street within the lobby area, and there's a conference center. And then also really think about our floor plates to maximize efficiency and daylight penetration, but also views. Not all of the spaces are all of this glazing and trying to use it appropriately where we had people. So we translated some of those intentions into LEED credits for low emitting materials, daylight, and views, and quantified those impacts, as you see on the right, towards rental premiums, which become a huge value proposition to the owner, productivity for the tenants, and a reduction of absenteeism for those working in the facilities. And then the last one that I'll talk about today is energy. How can we use a high performance building envelope to not only reduce energy use, but shave down that peak heat gain and reduce our reliability on the grid when it's most expensive, use efficient mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems, and like I said, reuse water and waste heat where we could. And so taking that data from our energy model and the offsets that were purchased to account for them, translated obviously into electrical savings to the owner and the tenants, but also a reduction of air pollution for the community. So in total, we really maxed out the number of inputs we put into Autocase, trying to catch as many of them as we can. That resulted in the big benefit to the owner, which actually came through in the sale of this facility. It was one of the most expensive real estate transactions since COVID happened. The community's value, and then ultimately the tenants working there. And then, like I said, that waterfall diagram that really tries to capture all of the impacts there. There's more if you're interested on that project on our website. There's a case study around all of the sustainability elements and the triple bottom line being a core part of how we define those intentions.